Fear and competition can be your best friend.
Season 3 of the Little Bricks podcast is back. We've got some amazing guests. Can't wait for you to see them. We're going to be speaking mental health, addiction, recovery, sales, business, sports, all sorts of topics. Distraction kills dreams. With the people you spend time with, you will become. Tough times don't ever last, but tough people do. I cannot wait to share it with you.
This week's episode of the Little Bricks podcast is sponsored by Bespoke Financial Group, the UK's #1 life insurance broker, helping protect your little bricks too.
So welcome to the Little Bricks podcast. Teesside singer-songwriter, someone who my brother Aaron, my friend Michelle, rave about the next big thing. Welcome to the show, Finn Forster.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate I appreciate you having me on.
Pleasure, mate. Thanks for jumping. Thank you for jumping on. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, mate. Where did it all start? Tell us about your journey and where you are now, please.
Yeah. So I am originally grew up in Eston in Middlesbrough, and then kind of got into music through. Well, I was quite lucky actually. I was quite fortunate because my whole entire family are musicians pretty much. They have like a family band called the Shea Family Band. They're just in Irish folk covers, the Dubliners and stuff. So growing up, I was pretty much surrounded by just rehearsals. We did all the local folk festivals and stuff, and kind of the first memories I have, not just of music, but in general, is being surrounded by every single family gathering or party, or just like on a daft Sunday when all my family were together, would be to do with music, and it'd be like a gathering and stuff like that. And then my first ever gigs were I joined this family band. So in this family band there was my mum, my granddad, my great uncle, my auntie, and my cousin.
Right.
And I was like the third generation member of that. Cause my first ever gigs were me joining in their gigs in like the folk festivals and stuff. And I was playing like Saltburn Folk Festival and stuff. And we were just doing like folk covers and a lot of Irish music, a lot of like the Dubliners and stuff like that. And that was my first kind of introduction into music. And then from there, kind of delved out really. I live in Nunthorpe now. My girlfriend Sophie, but my mum and dad, we moved from Eston to Ormsby. Grew up there, went to Nunthorpe school. Didn't really get into music till. Well, not early in school. It was kind of like a little secret, to be honest. I didn't really express myself in that way. I was all about football and sport. When I was going through school, I didn't think music or drama and stuff like that was the cool thing to do as you do when you're a young lad. You know what I mean? I was surrounded by all my mates and stuff who wanted to do sport and stuff. But then, I guess I just kind of. It's one of those things where I think no matter what, I was always meant to kind of go down that path. And I left school, went to Middlesbrough College. That's when I just kind of came into my own, came out of my shell a bit, and went to Middlesbrough College and did musical theatre, which is if you'd have told me in my first year of seniors, you're going to do musical theatre in Middlesbrough College, I got no way, and I got no, and I even a laugh at it. But then I just kind of. It was just the path I ended up going down. I think it was no matter what. And then I auditioned for drama school in London. Ended up going to London. Ended up getting in. I didn't get in the first time, and I persevered. Kept going. It's a very difficult, stressful time trying to audition for all these drama schools and stuff. And I ended up going to London School of Musical Theatre. And then I studied there in London. At the time of my life, unbelievable. Really, that's when I really kind of knuckled down and focused on singing, especially. But I did acting and dancing and stuff as well. And then, I don't know, I guess I kind of, after I'd finished there, I think I was just always into my music, and just fell back into my music, especially when I came home. I came home after about 3 years in London. And I just any chance I'd get, I'd be picking up the guitar and then writing tunes. It just came to me naturally. It was like one of those things where it just felt right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well, thanks for sharing that. Gives us a real foundation for people who are either big fans of yours, which I know a few, or sort of new to yourself, and it's nice to hear your backstory. Are you from Irish descent, the Foster family?
Yeah, so not my immediate family, but my mum's maiden name's Shea, so it's Shea.
Right.
Can't really get more Irish than that, really.
No,
Unless
you
you put an O before it.
Yeah.
And then so they all came from Cork on my mum's side.
Right.
That was definitely. I think that was definitely my granddad's influence as well. He was very, very, very influenced by Luke Kelly and all these Irish songs. And I think that probably came from his dad and his dad or whatever. So it was a massive, massive Irish influence in not only like in us as people, I think, but in my not only as a people, but then in my music as well. I think it's still kind of even now, kind of just shines through a little bit as well. Like just this folk, like the folk, Irish folk music, singer-songwriter kind of stuff. I like to tell stories when I'm writing stuff in it, and then I think I've just always had that influence, probably from day one, really.
Yeah. Amazing, mate. I love it. Well, there's a couple of things on that. So first of all, it's your podcast, by the way, but I need to break in here because you said about having it all in the beginning of it. So obviously we're Flanagans, Our families would be the Leaches and the Kilties, all from the Winniebanks, Cannon Park area. So three real Irish families there. So we actually had, I seen on a Cannon Park Relived on Facebook recently, there was a second-hand shop called O Flanagan's, but they took the off because of discrimination against the Irish, because we were sort of like. Yeah. So it wasn't like Irish are really cool now, aren't they? Probably because of like McGregor and U2 and God knows what else. It's really cool to be Irish now, but I guess way back when it wasn't. They had to take the O off the Flanagan, and out the back of the second-hand shop, all my great aunties and nanas and stuff used to do the tea leaf reading out the back end. So
no way, really.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
No, it's mad. It's mad. I want to. One of the things I want to do is, that ancestry thing.
Yeah.
I want to delve into that. I think at some point, just to see where it all goes or whatever.
Absolutely.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever done the?
So Michelle will be listening to this, and Samantha, my mate who used to work for me. So I did go into it, but I'm like the worst at standing up. I'm like a salesman of the best people to sell to. So I went online and signed up for the top package of ancestry. Like £90 a month or something like that, so I could find out exactly what tea, my great nana wanted to have in Ireland. And I just forgot about the direct debit that I couldn't cancel for about a year. So I did sign up for it, but I never went through it. But I would absolutely love. I'm the same. I think it's really important, and it actually means something to know who you are and where you're from. And actually, I think it helps you. Our history is a great axis and a great learning ground for us to predict where we're going in the future and actually why we are the way we are.
I feel therefore, I feel like you probably. I don't know. I feel like I'd probably get more of an understanding about everything that's happened, kind of thing, and where my granddad's influence for sort of music has came from. Why we're even all musical in the first place. You know what I mean, because it's a bit mad, really, isn't it? Like, there's not many people who can be like, my entire family's in a band. You know what I mean? It's a bit. Obviously, I'm used to it, so I don't really think anything of it. But then when I tell people, like, oh my word, that's like, that is mad. Like, the amount of the family members are all in a kind of a massive band and stuff like that. It's mad. It's crazy. It's good.
Yeah, no, I get that, mate. But I feel there's a couple of things there, right? I think straight away the Irish, Middlesbrough, Liverpool, Birmingham, three really, really strong Irish towns or cities, I guess, with strong contingent there. It actually shows in people's culture, our community, certainly a little bit in the accent as well, if you look across them. But the Irish are known to be wonderful singers and have such a strong musical heritage as well. I mean, the best singers in the world, the Irish, right? That's quite Irish. They say the Irish are just the Italians, but we can sing. Good looking, but can sing the Irish.
I think when everyone goes over to Dublin and stuff like that, and there's a lot of tourists who go over to Ireland, I think they expect that live music, don't you? Really, I feel like it's like a given. You expect it to expect a lot of cool kind of live music going on. For me personally, my favorite instrument, although I don't even play it, I don't play this instrument. My instrument's the guitar. My favorite instrument is the violin.
Really?
And, yeah, massively, man. Not when you're learning, because like it's the worst instrument to try. Yeah, God, it's like it's very difficult. Yeah, it's very. That's why I have a lot of respect for people who actually can play the violin, because I think when you're trying to learn the violin, it's like when you're getting them wrong notes, it's horrific. It's so bad. So I have a lot of respect for people who've actually just kind of knuckled down and learn and managed to properly master it. But I think a lot, me growing up, when we've been in and out of folk festivals as a kid and surrounded by my family and stuff, and just that kind of that folk music, violin just embedded in me almost. So it's like that's my favorite. It's very nostalgic and definitely my favorite kind of sound. So it's it's really
I love that, mate. Yeah, we had for our award ceremony, we have like a bespoke ball. Our company, Bespoke Financial Group, plug. We have like an annual award, like an Oscar ceremony, and we had the Urban Soul Orchestra. So when people walk in the room, they're playing like Insomnia or Children. They're doing it on violin. It's like the most fucking.
The strings,
Honestly, man, you know the P-Tongue Orchestra.
Yeah.
Like that, they're playing that. It is absolutely phenomenal. That's your question, Finn. What do you think? Like, you grew up around music, right?
Yeah.
And it always seems like we either have if or it's always one or the other, right? Do you think your granddad's influence, because you mentioned him quite a lot, and the musical culture or heritage that you come through, growing up around it, right? In the Shea family, or going off to college or university in London, etc. Going down, we usually have that. All right, listen, I do. I always think, like, which ones do you have? Them ones who are naturals who are better, or the ones that like nurture? Which one do you think was more influential growing up around the family and having such a strong influence on music, or actually getting educated?
I definitely would say family.
Really?
Yeah, I would, just because it goes way back to when I can't even remember a time without it. So even like, as far as I can remember, my granddad would be playing the guitar, because he started the band with his brother, my great uncle, and then my mum joined, and I can't remember it. I can't really name a time when I didn't have that in my life, because it dates back that long ago. It was all I knew, and then that's all I saw. So I think because I was surrounded by it from such a young age, I think it would have been very difficult, I don't think I could have ever not kind of at least delved into it a little bit. Like, maybe, you never know, do you? But maybe, even if I took a completely different path, and I went down completely different, I can't imagine a life where I wouldn't have at least some kind of inkling, into that kind of that music, or at least something, because I was just surrounded by it. I was surrounded by it from, before I can even remember. So I definitely think family. But then I think that's what kind of catapulted me into wanting to pursue it. And then when I went to study it, that just opened up, like, oh God, like hundreds and hundreds of different doors, and a complete different understanding of it. Because before that, I'd only had influence from it, and didn't really. I loved it. I knew I loved it. I knew I was passionate about it. I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't actually have any real understanding about what it meant or what it took to want to pursue it as a career and stuff until I truly went away. And it did, to be honest, still does. And it did. It takes a lot of, it's a roller coaster, man. It's a psychological roller coaster. And I've come to understand that it's like, it's ups and downs. It's not all. People obviously only see what you achieve and they only see what you achieve, what your successes, and they don't ever see kind of the background work, what goes into it. And to be honest with you, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like I wouldn't. Some of the stuff I've gone through, I don't think I'd wish it on. If I was to have a child, I don't even think I'd wish it on them, to be honest, because the amount of highs I've had and then the amount of lows I've had is just, sometimes it can take a massive toll on you. I think there's a massive reason why musicians and creatives and actors end up in like rehab and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Because it's so, the only way I can describe it, this is the only way I've ever tried to describe it, is, you know, when that feeling of falling in love with someone.
Yeah.
And then imagine that multiple times, like every, you know, as many times as you want, man, like every week, every month, and then every single time they just like leave you. It's like, you know, like when someone just blanks you. It's like that sinking heart feeling, and then but then every once in a while you'll get that little inkling and a little spike where something will make you think, oh, hang on a minute, this is why I'm doing it. You know what I mean? It's that's what keeps me going. So it's a tough game, and I speak for all musicians, I think, when I say like, bloody hell, it's a very tough kind of path to go down. If you really want to do it, there's a reason why a lot of people will think they want to do it and they'll try and go down it, and then they'll just stop, and they'll settle for something more. Well, they'll settle for something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's very few. Yeah, there's very few people who will continue to really persevere and go for it. And I think with me, in my mind, I've always just been like, there's never been any other option. You know what I mean? I can't quit, basically, which is kind of a blessing and a curse. You know what I mean? Because I'll be doing this. I'll be going for it for my entire life. I don't see a time where I'll ever stop or quit. You know what I mean? No matter what. And I think that's just embedded in my mind. I don't know whether that's me genetically as a person, or whether that's just something I've learned to kind of, that goes for anything though. Do you know what I mean? That might go for you as well, or what you do. Do you know what I mean? I think there's certain types of people who will literally just be the types of people who want to just persevere and progress no matter what.
Okay.
And then there's other people who will happily settle for, you know, a certain ground, a certain level. And that's absolutely fine as well. That's fine. I'm not saying that's bad or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, there's different mindsets in there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I think a really interesting point, mate, because I think your industry, right, or your dream, depending on which way we look at it, it's the road less traveled because of talent, because of so many other factors. But only, I mean, it must be 1 in a million make it or something like that, you know. I think over the past few years, and it's so dictated to what's actually in or fashionable at that time. For example, so you went through the Britpop period, and you got the R&B, and literally music seems to shift through different periods, right?
Oh yeah, massive.
Yeah. So your timing's got to be perfect. So you look at like Sam Fender, then you look at like Ed Sheeran. Their stories alone are so fucking inspirational and so powerful. And I can see you in that as well, mate. You know, go down that pathway. I think when you've got a dream and you're trying to make a dream become reality, whether that's sport, art, music, sales, I think that it's a really interesting point. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, Finn, because I think I've seen so many stuff myself, mate. Like 12 years ago, I overdosed on heroin, like bad. So the fact that I'm still alive today is nothing short of a miracle. So I've got to think there's a higher power pulling me through. The love of my children, I've had such amazing help. But I genuinely think that them dark moments, everything that we're going through is preparing us and chipping away and forming our energy and who we are. So for me, you know, I'm a fighter and I will fucking go and go and go. And I think that's an absolute non-negotiable ingredient when you try to find success. Whether that's in sales, whatever yourself and your
it's like any goes for any industry, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What's your thoughts, mate? Is it sort of something that's naturally there, or is it something that, you know, life just chips away at you and gives you that tenacity to keep going?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's something. I think we're all different. We're all on this. We're all doing exactly the same thing. We're all just humans living our life, but we're all on very different paths, and no one really truly knows what kind of paths each individual person is going down. The only person who knows that is yourself. And I think I do step back sometimes. I think it's crazy there's a lot of people out there who will, you know, they'll be completely content with where they're at, and then there's with me, I don't know whether it's a certain kind of mindset or personality or whatever, but I can't. And like I said, like going back on what I said before, it's kind of a blessing and a curse because I always want to keep going. So like, there'll never be, for me, I've accepted this, and it's a lot better for me, myself personally, because I've realised that there is no destination for what I'm doing. It's just one gigantic journey. So there's no matter, even if say I achieved everything I set out in my head and all my wildest dreams or aspirations, even if I get there, I know already now before even getting there that there's going to be something else regardless. You know what I mean? Okay. There's never going to be. I know there's never going to be a point where I'll achieve loads of things and then I'll be like, right, I'm done, sorted. I've done everything I want to do now. I just think I don't know whether it's, I think there's a lot of other people like that. I've met people like that. You sound like you're like that as well, where you just want to keep progressing in what you do.
Yeah, I get that, man. I think, with winners, right, I think most people set off with a journey and they think, when I achieve that, when I get that goal, whatever that goal is, whatever industry, whether it's family, business, art, music, sport, whatever it is, I'm okay. But winners, like people who that sort of clutch gene, it's never enough because they get there and they go, what else? Let's do it again. Let's win it better. Let's go there. Let's go and conquer there. Let's go and do that. And there's actually, I genuinely feel that there's a form of, obviously I'm an addict in recovery, God bless. Just for today, I'm clean and sober. But I genuinely think my addiction is my absolute biggest God-given gift in business because like, I've got a bigger tolerance than other people. I can go further. I can go longer. I can work harder. It's not that. It's always more. Does that make sense? Sir?
No, completely, man. I completely agree. I do, and I think that kind of mindset is. I think a lot of people are like that. And I think with that mindset comes kind of points where you need to really delve into yourself and your own thoughts and kind of do a certain amount of accepting from within, as in like if you because it can become quite kind of self-destructive, I think, if you at times, what I mean, if you don't rein it in and you don't really kind of get a great understanding of why you like this and stuff. So if I keep everything I achieve, if I just keep thinking, it's not good enough, I'll keep going. You know what I mean? So I try and get a good balance. And I think, well, I've achieved this, I've set out to do it, and I'll allow myself to kind of look on it and think, that's great. I'll be really happy that I've done it, and then I'll aim towards the other thing. I won't make it a negative thing where I think, I've achieved this, but and then I won't suddenly think, I haven't done this or I haven't done that. I haven't done, I won't keep it. I'll keep striving for more, but then at the same time, you need to find that balance. I think where you can allow yourself to still kind of, I don't know, self-reflect and reward yourself. You know what I mean? In your own mind and look back on what you've achieved and stuff. And because I think if you just constantly striving for more and more and more, and you never actually take time to look back on what you have achieved, it's quite, I don't know, it can be quite detrimental to your mind. I think anyway. Do you know what I mean?
So very few people make it in your game. Like so very few. Like, what is the dream for Finn? What's it look like? What's utopia? What's your dream look like?
For me, well, I just want to. To be honest, I just want to get to a point where I can very comfortably say that I am making an honest living and a good living, a comfortable living, just solely off the songs that I write.
Right, okay.
And I know that doesn't sound like much. I mean, don't get me wrong. It'd be really like, I do have aspirations of getting to the complete top, kind of locations and selling out the biggest kind of venues I can possibly do.
Yeah,
I still have that, but for me, ultimately, my main aim, and it's always been like this as well, is I like to connect with people through my music, especially people like myself in the northeast and stuff, and well, all around the country really. Just people who think that they're limited to what they can achieve from their upbringing, or where I feel like there's a lot of people who think there's a cap on where they can go in life, because this is what I feel like they think this is the cards I've been dealt. This is the only possible route I can go down, and I like to break out of that mold, and I want to prove that to people, and I feel like my calling in my own head is to do that through songwriting and music, and if I can connect with as many people as possible through my songs, then that's the ultimate goal for me, is to just connect with as many people as possible all around the world. And then hopefully people who are listening and see my journey will take from it, and then them themselves can kind of pursue the same thing and think, oh, well, he's done it, so hang on a minute, why surely I can do the same, because that's exactly what's happened with me. I look at the likes of Sam Fender and stuff like that, and he's a normal guy. There's plenty of others as well. There's lots of normal people who they've fought for what they've got. You know what I mean? And I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in there's no limitations on anything in anyone's life. I feel like if you want something, you need to go out there and you get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
That's my belief anyway. And so my ultimate goal really is, don't get me wrong, I think kind of joined in with that is, in order to do that, I do feel like I'd have to be getting my music out to the masses, which is it's a bonus for me as well, of course, because anyone wants that. Come on, as a musician or a creator or anything, if I can get to a point where I'm selling, millions of records and stuff like that, and known worldwide, then that's fantastic. But at the same time, my main aim within that is to inspire and motivate people, people within the same from the same background, or well, not just the same background, but people who I want to inspire people through my songwriting to basically just get to think in their own minds as well, that they can do whatever they want to set out to do, regardless of how they've set out in life. That's my main aim anyway.
Good for you. Yeah. Can I ask you some questions there, mate? Is that okay?
Yeah.
First of all, you're drinking coffee there. What's Finn Forster's coffee, so people know?
I'm a black Americano, man.
My man. There you go. Okay, cool. So,
are you as well? Are you black Americano?
I'm a black Americano, man. Oh, you know what? So my man, this is how fucked up my addicted brain is, right?
Yeah.
During the week, right, I'm black Americano or espresso or cans of Monster or Red Bull, and I cut out all luxuries. I try not to eat during the day.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I think it's weak. I think when you're fucking eating during the day, you always feel bloated. When you get my age, well, you get these things called moobs, Finn, and you also get your shirt stretches on the buttons there. So I try not to eat during the day, because in my own head, I'm thinking I'm offshore. I'll out tough. Mate, I've been homeless, I've OD'd, I've been fucking grew up in the week. I'm just tougher than all the other salespeople in the UK, and I can just go further and harder and longer than them. That's all. So that's how my brain works. On the weekend, that's when I can relax, when I've got my beautiful children, God bless, and I can have an oat milk tea with a couple of sugars in there. I can go soft.
Yeah, that's discipline, that, man. That's discipline.
That makes sense. That's how my mind works.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah. What about, I think discipline, the thing is with motivation, right? Motivation, we all need, you're going to go to the gym, for example, we all need to listen to a Finn Forster or a Rocky song or something to go, bang, I'm on this all. I'm going to knock out a 5K now. But motivation's great, but it's like a coffee or a can of Red Bull. What goes up must come down, it comes crashing down. But when you get discipline, that's what separates champions from people who almost made it. It's that fucking discipline, so much more important, I feel.
Yeah, completely, man, completely.
Like, look at yourself there, so how many times you think, you know what? I'm going to make some assumptions here, right? Please just say, Lee, you're wrong. No problem at all.
Yeah, that's right.
I imagine going on the route, you're on there, right? I don't suppose you've got like a funder or someone, a sponsor who's going, there you go. There's a grander way to go and pursue your dreams. So you go and write loads of nice songs that'll inspire people and make people feel good. I imagine it's a tough fucking gig on so many levels to sort of financially, inspiration. You actually have the mental strength to keep on going and keep on going. When you see your pals are buying house, I imagine now, and having kids and settle and having them nice things, like you're thinking, no, I'm going to keep this pen in my hand. I'm going to keep writing songs and keep writing songs. I've got a dream and I'm going to keep chasing it. I think that's so fucking strong. I think it's so fucking strong.
Completely, mate. I mean, I know. Don't get me wrong. I'm at a position now where I know there's a lot of people around me who will be very, very, very willing to help and kind of help me get to that next step. Or if there was a time when I might need some extra backing, I know that it's there. But in my head, I've come this far, so I've come all this way so far, just completely off my own back.
Yeah.
And just off basically just persevering and prioritizing and stuff like that, especially financially. But I think in my own head as well, if I was to get to a point where I wanted that extra help of someone or whatever, I would want to feel like it's the complete correct time for me, if that makes sense. Yeah, for instance, I wouldn't want to waste it. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to waste it. I'd want to. So I'd have a plan set out. I do have a plan set out and stuff. Yeah. But so far, it's completely off my own back because I started a bakery in lockdown with a partner. Before that, so like go back 3 years, I was just doing the odd part-time jobs. So I was a barista, done every job under the sun, man. I worked in Harrods. What
jobs, mate? So talk us through the jobs, please, Finn, because people will see you put on music out, you're doing gigs, you clearly, your music's fucking brilliant, mate. So I think yourself and a couple of others are real leaders of. I think they've got a fantastic hotbed of talent in Teesside. Listen, a lot of it, I'm 41-year-old fucking baldy, so a lot of it is like, I'm too old to like some of it, but even some like the local MCs and stuff like that, you're thinking, they're fucking talented and they represent an idea, an ideology and a culture and actually a fucking a town. Does that make sense? We've got so much fucking talent around here.
I love to see it as well, man. I absolutely, there's nothing more that I love to see than someone, especially in my own hometown, because it hits so close to home. Just seeing people doing exactly what I'm setting out to do. I'm all for bigging people up, supporting people. I feel like I'm a big believer that you support your own. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
100%, man. I'm all about that, and I just think with people who are there's a lot of people on the same path as me and things, and I'm all for bigging everyone up, and I'd rather it be a community where people help each other out than people just comparing themselves to each other and putting each other down. I'm not about that. I'm about there's a lot of, because I'm friends with a lot of people in my industry, especially in my hometown. Yeah. Where it kind of makes me, I don't know whether it's just, I've always felt like this, but I don't know whether it's embedded in me. I don't know whether everyone feels like this, but if I see someone doing well, I'll feel this sense of pride. I'll feel proud. I'll be like, you know what, good for them. That's brilliant. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if anything, it'll motivate me. I like to motivate others, and at the same time, I'll take motivation from other people. I've always been like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, mate. So I think fascinating. Thank you for that one. It gives us a real eye opener into who you are, because I think with success, limiting beliefs, scarcity mentality. Mate, I was the fucking worst in the world, Finn. So I'd grow up and I'd see someone with a nice car, I'd go, fucking dickhead. Like, just his dad got him that. Or I'd see someone being successful and I'd hate on them. And, so I'm speaking from both sides of the fence.
Completely, man. Completely. It's easy to compare yourself to others, especially people in a very similar field or the same field as what you're doing. But I think, I don't know whether it's a maturity thing as I've got a little bit older or experience thing, but I've learned in any, not just music, not just my field. I feel like any walk of life, the worst possible thing you can do is start comparing yourself to other people. Because for one, you don't know everyone's story, so you don't know you don't know what's going on. Do you know what I mean? And then two, if you're just comparing yourself to, you need to stick to your own path, man. Stick to your own journey. I've always been about that, and ever since I started doing that, I found I found myself a lot. But to be honest, I found myself doing a lot more, achieving a lot more, because I wasn't focusing on other people. I was just focusing on my own path, and I think that's what everyone should do, really. Do you know what I mean?
But I think there's a couple of things there, mate. First of all credit to you. Absolutely all praise to you for having that sort of mentality and outlook and energy that you put out there, right? Because what you put out, you get back. It's the law of attraction. I feel also.
Oh yeah.
Critique them who see massively. You know what, mate? If you see something who's successful or somebody who's successful, you got them some people who want to critique and hate and be jealous and envy. They'll never see success. But then other people go, you know what? Good for you. Let's celebrate that person's success. I'm so happy for that person. When you can do that, the universe sort of smiles upon you and goes, yeah, you can have a bit now. And you can also feel that sort of success and the riches that 100%. It brings, you know?
100%. Have you ever read The Secret?
It's a massive part of my life. You know what, mate? I went through a period of bespoke where I wouldn't let people, Joe, who works for us, my mate, I'm going to bring this back in, mate, actually. You know what? You've inspired me. So I wouldn't let people join Bespoke Financial unless they read The Secret of the Alchemist, and I'd just say, no, you're not joining. I wouldn't let them join because I think you've got to be successful and to get to a certain place and actually to be a better person. You need to be more open-minded and actually be happy. Stop having that scarcity mentality like, he's successful, that means that I can't be successful now. You've robbed me of my opportunities. No, it actually increases your fucking chance of being successful.
Completely, man. Yeah, no, I found when I did alter my mind. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't always like that. I mean, especially starting out, and I think everyone. I feel like naturally you compare yourself to others, and you're constantly kind of having this battle in your own mind, thinking, look at that person over there. I can't believe they've achieved it. Why haven't I done that? And all that. That's a complete wrong mindset to go down. And ever since I altered my mindset and started kind of just focusing on myself, not comparing myself, and at the same time just kind of being really open-minded and happy for others, and then also kind of wanting to delve more into how they've done it. You know what I mean? I made more friends than blocking them out and thinking, I'm not going to bother with you because bitterness or jealousy. And there's a lot of times where I altered my mindset and I would reach out to people, I'd be more interested in how they got to where they've got to. And I found a lot of the time, pretty much 99% of the time, a lot of people would be very open to discussing it with me. And then from that, I ended up getting further on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it goes back to, if I wasn't like that, if I was just closed-minded, thinking just bitter, just blocking people out, there's absolutely no way I would have achieved the things that I've achieved.
100%.
It's like that law of attraction thing where you get what you give out. Do you know what I mean?
100%, mate. Yeah. Well, you think scarcity mindset, holding on to something like that, like as if you're the fucking. I promise, like, I'm going to hold up this 20 quid forever and ever and ever. I'm going to keep it because, say, for a rainy day, well, that 20 quid won't keep you dry on a rainy day, mate. And while you're sat like that, holding your 20 quid hate on everyone else who's growing and building and taking risks and developing. And the thing you said about people's journey is really important because so often, like, people want to mock or bully or mimic or take the piss and be like, look, he did this or he failed or do you know so-and-so did this, like, but you don't know them. You don't know what the fuck they're going through.
Exactly, man. No, completely, man.
Shut the fuck up and let people go through their journey. I think
I completely agree.
Being interested more than being interesting. That's a really that's amazing thing to be. Just be more interesting, curious in people and more accepting and open-minded than trying to be interesting all the time.
100%. I'm a big believer in networking and being very open to getting to know people and meet them before you. I never like to judge anyone before I've got to know them a little bit or network with them or spoke to them. And ever since I started doing that, because I'm in an industry where you can literally have to network all the time, man. When I finish my gig, that's not the end of my gig. The end of my gig is when I've spoke to everyone in the room. There's a lot of times where there'll be other bands on and stuff like that. I'll make an effort to chat to them. I'll go, how's things going? Especially bands that I'm on the bill with where I can see that they've achieved certain things, and I'm like, I'm very interested in how they've done it. And I'll be able to speak with them.
Of course,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think what's really interesting there is when you look at people's journeys, and you see what they've been through. We mentioned Sam Fender there. I think the comparisons are quite obvious given if I frustrate or insult you in any way, it's not my intention. Similar sort of music from similar sorts of backgrounds, from a similar sort of area. Is that fair?
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, no. I think there's always going to be that. Always going to be that. I think no matter what you do, there's always going to be. There's definitely always going to be someone who's doing something very, very similar. I think it'd be very difficult to go out and try and achieve something, and then there'd be no one else in the world trying to do the same thing. But for me, for me personally, I try and take as much as I possibly can from what others are doing. I'd rather reach out to someone doing something similar to me and kind of befriend them than try and make some kind of rivalry. I'm not really about that because that also goes back to when I was talking about staying in your own lane. Do you know what I mean? All right, fair enough, we might be doing something very similar. However, at the same time, we're almost definitely on very, very different journeys. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's no one. It goes back to that. There's no one who's going to be going down the exact same path as me. Do you know what I mean? There's no. I've got my past. I've done the things I've done, and that's what's led me to where I am now. Yeah, there might be someone who's in a very similar boat, but I guarantee you they haven't done what I've done, and I haven't done what they've done. And I'm just open-minded, man. I'm really sure. I'm not about conflict or wanting to. I want to. I'm very much about staying in your own lane and going after what you really want, but at the same time taking as much as you possibly can from anywhere you can get it from, and then helping others as well, man. There's a lot of musicians now. I think ever since I started doing a lot more bigger gigs, my songs have started doing a lot better, especially in like the iTunes charts. So that I'll have younger musicians who'll reach out to me. Yeah. And I kind of like this because I was them once. I once messaged other musicians who I aspired to kind of replicate and achieve the same things, and I'm getting that now, which is really nice. Yeah. And because I'm aware that I was that person once, and I'm that person, to be honest. There's always going to be someone who aspires to be like. And so I do as much as I possibly can to help them out and message them, and I get some kind of fulfillment out of that as well. I don't know. It's like when I think it goes into that when you. I think you can't really, it's indescribable really, but when you get like the best, there's a really nice feeling you get out of helping others. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's like that thing where when you give and you give a lot to someone, you get this sense of kind of, I don't know, I don't know how to describe it, but you know what I mean, where if you do something if you're doing things for others, you get this feeling within like you've done something good. It's like when you do your good deeds. If you've done a good deed for the day, you kind of get this sense of I've done something good. You know what I mean? And you can't really compare that to any other feeling. I mean, I think it's its own feeling within itself. Yeah. So I like helping others. I like helping other people, especially when I know that I've been in that situation. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's great.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah. Well, again, your experiences form your outlook, right, and your opinion, your energy that you put out there. There's a great book called about the secret. Read a book called The Go-Giver. Wonderful book. Fantastic little small audio book. It's like a 3-hour book, and it's about those who are successful. You're always going to get the odd anomaly, the odd one or two out, but usually successful people have got a lot of character traits that are quite similar. So if you look at winners, usually every winner I've ever reported, I had preconceived ideas because I'm a closed mind, my own limiting beliefs. But when you go and speak to them, you go, something I thought, what a dickhead he is. Look at him, he thinks he's this. You approach me and say, look, I'm trying to achieve what you've done. I think it's great. You're just going to get some advice. They love other people being successful. They're also similar, like what you're saying there, youngsters coming through. Yeah, try this, maybe go there. I wouldn't do that if I was you because I did that and I got these negative results. You always want to try and help and develop, and we grow by helping others. What we put out, we back. So The Go-Giver is a great book, mate. I think really interesting you said about other jobs you've done. What other jobs have you done in the past that sort of?
So I've done. I started in a pizza shop. And I got fired. I got fired after 2 weeks because it was the first job I ever had, and it was I don't think I was doing anything right, to be honest. I was about 15 or 16 at the time. Then but then I applied for Costa Coffee, and I got that job. that was my first kind of, that was the first time I'd ever really just, I don't know where I got it from. I still don't to this day, but I just walked in. I knew there was a lot of people applying for the job at Costa Coffee. It was in Middlesbrough. And I just got this overwhelming sense of confidence to just walk in and say to the manager, "Excuse me, mate, can I just chat to you for a second?" And I don't think anyone else had done that. They just walked in, head down, handed the CV over. And I thought, I'm not going to do that because everyone's done that. I went to the manager, can I chat to you? And I sat down with him and he gave me the time of day. And I said to him, look, I'm looking for a job and stuff. And I had a good chat with him, a good conversation. And then out of that, that's when I got my first, it was like a proper job, really. I got my first proper job in Costa Coffee. That was when I was 16. And that was the first time where I thought, hang on a minute, because I've had the confidence to go in there and kind of be out of my comfort zone and try and do something that others aren't. I've actually it's actually worked. And then from there, it's like a chain reaction. So I did a pizza shop, then I did Costa Coffee. I moved to London. I did Harrods. I was in Harrods for a bit. That was mad. I had 6 interviews for Harrods. And I had this crusty little suit from Primark. So I barely had any money to even get through the turnstiles at the tube station. I had this crusty little suit. But then I just embodied this massive, it's almost like you're trying to be someone you're not, but I'm still by myself, but you have to have this sense of confidence. I've always felt that throughout my life. And I did that for those interviews at Harrods, and I didn't really care about the fact that I didn't have the nicest suit. There was a lot of people in there who were dressed very well. I just had this, I let my personality come through, and I got through that. I worked for Hugo Boss in Harrods while I was at drama school. Finished that, and then when I came home, I've done the odd little barista jobs and stuff, worked in like little cafes and things like that. And then finally, last year, well, during lockdown, actually 2 years ago, I ended up starting my own business. I think I've always been quite business minded. I've always had in the back of my mind, no matter what I've done, I've always had this entrepreneur kind of mindset. And I started a bakery, doing giant cookies from home. And I started it in lockdown. We did collection from home, and then I built it up and up, and I would do it with my partner. I wouldn't be able to do it without her because she was absolutely fantastic. She still is fantastic. And she does the social media and stuff. And we split that together, and we called it Maple and Door. And we opened it in Gisborough. And now we went from starting in the kitchen, just doing collection only, to then moving into the garage and investing in larger equipment and commercial equipment. And then now we've got our own shop in Gisborough. And then my plan for that, although I've got loads of stuff going on, I've got my music and stuff, but at the same time, that's now given me the financial support to kind of pursue my music, all the while not having to take up loads and loads and loads of time working, if you get what I mean. I can, as like before I was doing, in order to get the financial backing that I needed for my music, I'd have to probably work, God knows how many hours a week. Whereas now, because I put the work in at the very start with this business, and unfortunately it's gone really well. Now I can do a lot less hours, just oversee everything, and then I've got a lot more time to focus on my music and stuff. And I'm going to continue pursuing that. And then that's where I'm at right now. So I've got the music going on, and then at the same time I've got that bakery in Gisborough.
Yeah, super, brother. Yeah, I've heard about you yourself. What's your missus' name, please?
What are you saying?
What's your missus' name, please?
Oh, Maple and Door.
What's your partner's name?
Oh man, she's called Sophie. Sophie, yeah, I've heard about Sophie. Sophie Dale, she's called. And then I remember I was working in Stokesley at the time, and she liked to bake stuff at home. And this was back, it's like in the middle of lockdown. We didn't have anything to do. I didn't have any gigs on. She's a nail technician as well, so she didn't have anything on. And then something just kind of clicked in my mind. I was like, you know what? We should try and make a collection business. At first, it was just going to be a lockdown project. I was like, let's just try and sell these cookies. So make them as good as we can possibly get them, and sell them from home. And it just took off. And then and we've just gone from strength to strength. And now we've got a shop in Gisborough. My plan, in my mind, is to open up more shops and more, and then just completely make a really big chain out of it. Good.
Amazing, man. Good for you. Yeah. So not just a singer-songwriter with massive talent, and a really nice lad as well, mate. I've got to say, you're a lovely, lovely lad. But also seemed like a really good partner, but quite the entrepreneur with Sophie as well. I've heard a lot about Sophie too. I hear she's fantastic on social media. And
it's brilliant.
Few people recommend to get her on the podcast. Apparently she's a really interesting character.
To be honest, I will. We'll have to get her on. She's got like a hell of a story as well, because she's mad, man. I don't know how she does it. I've never really met anyone like her, but the way she just has this drive in her head, where if she wants to do something, she'll just set out to do it, and she'll just smash it every single time. She's done it with the nails. I've seen her do it time and time again. She did it with the nails, then she did it with a clothing brand, and then she's done it. She's helped. We both kind of set out with our goals for this bakery in Maple and Door, and she's absolutely smashed the social media part of it out of the park, and she's just constantly on it, on the ball. And she's actually been quite a big inspiration for me as well. I'm a big believer that you surround, I think in 90% of who you are is who you surround yourself with.
Oof, God bless, mate. Look at the 5 people around you, and you will become one of them. So when I was at the height of my addiction, with no teeth and God knows what I was getting up to, guess who I hung around with?
I bet it was the same
there
people.
You go. So you're going to attract who you are, and you become who you attract. So be very careful on who you're putting around you, because that's who you will become. 1,000,000%.
I'm a massive believer of that, man. Like I've seen it firsthand, so I'm very kind of disciplined and strict on who I surround myself with. I've got some great mates and stuff. I'm fortunate enough to have mates who also do really well. They've got their own things going on, got a good drive and stuff, and you can see it, man. You can see it firsthand. If you just take a step back and see who you're surrounding yourself with, you'll definitely realize, if things are going wrong, you'll really, really figure out why they're going wrong. And if things are going really well, you'll figure out exactly why they're going well as well, because it's all about who you surround yourself with, man.
Always, brother. So where can guys who want to come in, listen to your music and follow your journey, where can they follow you, please, Finn?
So I'm on Instagram, sort of Facebook, YouTube, Finn Forster. It's either Finn Forster, FINN FORSTER, or it's Finn Forster Music. And on Spotify, it's just Finn Forster. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music. I've got about 9 songs out. And then there's plenty more new songs to come as well. But if you want to, the biggest help that I can get as an independent artist and someone who's trying to kind of move up, if you follow me on any social media or you follow my Spotify, it may seem small to you, but to me it's massive. So I appreciate everyone who does it. And then if you want to find me on any of them platforms, just Finn Forster.
What a lovely lad, mate. You're an absolute credit to Sophie, to yourself, to your family, to the town of Boro. Up the Boro, mate.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure, mate. I've got some requests to help out there as well. We've got a documentary series coming up soon about my addiction and recovery and what we've done.
Yeah.
I guess in business as a team, me and my family and friends, really focusing on my addiction and my recovery. I've got a local artist who's a good friend of mine who I love, similar to yourself. He's called Brad Robinson, really good singer, massive fan of him. He's going to do a song and put it on the documentary, mate. I'd love to have a similar chat with yourself, mate, because
100%. I'll be well up for that, mate. I'm all about stuff like that. Definitely.
God bless. Thank you. I'll give you a call then, mate. Thank you so much, Finn Forster. Absolute gentleman. God bless you.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you. Yeah, man.
Join the award-winning team at Bespoke Financial, where you get free training in your own time.